Good evening to everyone. My name is Reannie Arevalo from Polytechnic University of the Philippines Open University. So first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to present my paper entitled Ethics and Education Management Practices of Principals in Selected Public Elementary Schools. So educational leadership roles take the form of being leading professionals who act as mentor, educator, advisor, ambassador, advocate, and of being chief executive who act as a strategist and manager. So globally, schools are facing many issues and emergent adversities with which educational leaders must contend, and learning to deal with the adversity in the organization in one's career life is an essential element of effective leadership. Even advances and changes in technology, science, values, environment, and international relationships hold a varied assortment of challenges and adversities in education. According to Tentore Cabral et al., 2022, Principles, Problems, and Challenges beginning from 2003 to 2019, the results point out to eight main categories related to the complex nature of the job and the interactions between the different stakeholders. So there is a significant increase in the number and complexity of problems and challenges throughout the times that has been noticed. And there's a study of Villanueva et al. 2021. It argues that the low performance of schools, including their teachers and non teaching staff, emanates from the scarcity of supervisory, interpersonal, and leadership skills of the school heads. There is a Republic Act number 9155 that said that all school is led by a school head who is trained, monitored, and held accountable for organizing and leading an institutionalized school improvement process at the school level. So, with all of these being said, I, as the researcher, aims to augment in some ways the determination of the ethics and education management practices of principals, particularly in the municipality of Siniluan, District 4 of the Division of Laguna. For the research methodology, this study made use of descriptive study. I use a survey questionnaire based on the literature gathered on ethics and education management practices. So this survey questionnaire is the main tool used in gathering the data from the respondents. And it consists of three major parts. One part for the personal profile, second part for the benchmark statements in connection with the extent of the ethics applicable for the school heads. Third part includes the education management practices being employed by the school heads. And this study was conducted at the nine different elementary schools from the municipality of Siniloan. And Cochrane's sample size formula was utilized. So the teacher was randomly selected using the fishbowl technique. And the researcher developed questionnaire underwent content validation by the assigned experts, and I get the ethics clearance, after which pilot testing and reliability testing took place. Data gathering was imposed by the researcher, and once all the data has been completed, I was helped by a statistician for the statistical analysis. Moving on with our SOP findings, conclusions, and recommendations. For first SOP, what is the extent of ethics of the school heads towards the state, profession, teaching and non-teaching staff, parents, and learners? So the findings said that ethics of the school heads towards the state, profession, teaching and non-teaching staff, parents, and learners are very highly evident as perceived by the respondents. And ethics towards the learners got the highest overall mean, followed by ethics towards the teaching and non-teaching staff. While ethics towards the profession got the lowest overall mean, and ethics of the school heads towards the parents got the second to the lowest grand mean. This just concludes that the fundamental mission of educational institutions is to ensure the welfare and development of the pupils. So school heads may prioritize internal stakeholders because they are more directly involved in the school's daily operations and immediate outcomes. And with that, it is being recommended that these school leaders need to develop programs that actively involve parents in school activities and decision-making processes, and should also look for opportunities that would enhance their professional competencies. Second SOP, what are the education management practices employed by the school heads in terms of planning, organizing, coordinating, directing, motivating, controlling, and supervising? So this suggests that education management practices of the school heads in terms of planning, organizing, coordinating, directing, motivating, controlling, and supervising are all very highly evident as perceived by the respondents. So education management practices in terms of supervising get the highest grand mean, followed by organizing and coordinating. On the other hand, planning and motivating got the lowest grand mean. And it just concluded that teacher perceived that the school heads show a very highly evident education management practices that will ensure the delivery and attainment of the objectives of the school. It is therefore recommended that school heads should be encouraged to deepen their involvement in strategic planning, also establish formal recognition and awards programs to celebrate teachers' achievements and contributions. So last SOP, is there a significant relationship between the extent of ethics of the school heads and their education management practices? So it can be gleaned from the results that there is really a positive, strong relationship between the ethics and the education management practices of the school heads. This just means that the ethics and education management practices are integral aspects of effective school leadership. And while each concept holds importance independently, there is really growing recognition of the interconnectedness between ethics and education management practices among school heads. So it is recommended to foster a culture of continuous reflection and improvement in both ethics and education management practices. And further recommendation is also to have further studies in regards to ethics and education management practices of the school heads, topics such as, similar studies, but wide range of stakeholders being the respondents, not only the teachers, but can add learners, parents, and other stakeholders. Also, to explore the role of technology in supporting ethics and management practices in education, because nowadays, technology is being wider used. And last but not the least, are the references utilized for this study. So I will end my presentation with a quotation from Pearl Buck that if you want to understand today, you have to search yesterday. That's all, and thank you.